and join us as we have to discuss opening week for baseball, esports, which will include the finale of the NorCal Regional Tournament for the top fighting games. And finally, we're discussing League of Legends' crazy playoffs for the North American LCS. So once again, join us Mondays, 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
How's it going? My name is Edgar Ibar, and I'm very grateful for all the knowledge I received at the Illinois Media School. My 15-year career in radio has been a dream come true. I'm a radio DJ, I'm on the air, and I get to be a program director for 2 radio stations in Wisconsin. My dream became a reality with the Illinois Media School. Illinois Media School is a great school with great teachers and former students now working in the industry today on the radio stations you listen to and on the TV stations you watch every day. Illinois Media School, check it out. For more details, beonair.com.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is Jonathan Hood, instructor at the Illinois Media School, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So many reasons for you to consider Illinois Media School: financial aid for those who qualify, real-world hands-on experience, internships, and so much more. Don't just take my word for it. Set up a tour at one of the 2 Chicagoland locations. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports to learn more. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 2 o'clock, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. Cubs fans, the wait is finally over. The team will finally play their home opener against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yesterday, the game was postponed due to snow. Tyler Chatwood gets the start against Ian Nova. Game is currently in the bottom of the second. Cubs and Pirates tied at 1. The White Sox lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 5-4 yesterday afternoon. Chris Archer picked up the win for the Rays. The 2 teams face off again as Carson Palmer will be on the mound for the White Sox. Hockey fans, no need to stress. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are here. Well, okay, one more day, but tomorrow night, rather. Penguins, Flyers, Wild, Jets, and Kings Knights series all get underway. And in a surprise move, the Washington Capitals will not be starting Braden Holtby in net for the start of the playoffs. Philip Grubauer will instead get the start in Game 1, according to the score. More updates likely to follow. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. Live on Chicagoland Sports Radio, it's the Penalty Box with 3 guys, 2 hours of hockey, and 1 Goontastic show.
Seabrook alive. 42 from Seabrook. Here's Panera. Final seconds. Panera walks in, scores. Hat-trick goal. Here come the Hats. In front of that, they score. It's him again. He's at it again. Back to Seabrook. And they score. Off-swing, Seabrook.
It's only a game. Why have you kept to be men?
Back ahead comes Seabrook, but it's stopped. He's stopped. Clear. Atkinson sends it wide. Misses the hat trick second time. Puts it in with 8/10 of a second left. Here's a shot. Scores off the top of the circle. Willie Nylander ends a gross.
Now, here's the Iceman, Hot Take Nikos, and the Goon.
What's going on, guys? This is Hot Take Nico with
The Goon.
James the Goon. Before we get going today on the fun stuff with hockey, it would be remiss of us to not talk about what happened on Friday evening. On Friday evening, a semi-tractor trailer ran into a bus full of kids who had dreams, coaches who people know, everybody knew, and a lot of lives were lost. The hockey community lost a lot of lives this last Friday. 15 people did in fact die. It's a tragedy, but in the wake of this tragedy, the hockey community has came together and really is showing why that it doesn't matter if you're in Chicago, you're in Ohio, you're in Ontario, you're anywhere. Everyone cares about what happens, and no one's alone.
And while the hockey community mourns and supports them in their time of need, there was a symbolic gesture that they came up with, and it was basically, leave a stick or two out on your porch at night, which I gotta say, while it's a small gesture, it could mean so much and go a long way. We not only pray for those in need, we also send our thoughts rather to the community, because we are humbled, strong, and one big hockey family.
Yes, sir. And if you do feel if you're not feeling too well, and you see these reports, and maybe you're in general just feeling kind of sad, we will leave links and stuff at the bottom of our YouTube channel that we also are going live right now with, and be able to contact us, and just know you're not alone. But anyway, let's get into the fun stuff.
Absolutely.
NHL playoffs. Oh boy, it's here. Oh,
it is here. Absolutely.
I am. Let's just say I've been waiting all season for this. I think everybody is who does.
Oh yeah.
Playoffs. But I am excited for these playoffs. This whole season's been up and down for pretty much every team, and I feel that, well, maybe not Vegas,
right?
But it's just really I'm excited to see what matchups are bringing. Like, all the matchups are really, I feel like they're good teams going. There's no like bad team going on or that's in the playoffs this year. So I feel like all together, it's been a really solid sort of season all in all, with who's getting in and whatnot. But who we're going to be going in with our Eastern Conference, who's going to be in the playoffs. Well, we already know who's in the playoffs, but we're going to be going over each team, and let's get started. Who we got?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start out in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, well, let's start with Philly and let's start with Pittsburgh.
Ooh, man,
should be good for one team. I would think. Just to give you guys a little bit of take a step back here. Pittsburgh actually swept this season's series against Philadelphia, and while some people might think that that doesn't matter, which in some instances, yeah, you're right, it doesn't matter. But at the same time, trying to get into that mindset about in the playoffs, I gotta think Pittsburgh has the upper edge here.
Yeah, I mean, we have a daily face-off open right now for both of us. We'll go over the line. So for forwards, we'll go over Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh right now, their top line, they have Jake Getzel left wing, Sidney Crosby center, with Brian Rust on the right wing. Second line, Carl Hagelin. Then Genny Malkin with Patrick Hornquist. Third line is Sheary, Broussard, Phil Kessel. And then the fourth line is Kuhnhackl, Sheehan, and Zach Ashton-Reese. Now, just looking at, I know the last 2 years, obviously, the Pittsburgh Penguins have won the Cup.
Right.
And, I mean, they've won the Cup by having three solid lines that are, you have Crosby on one, you have Malkin on the other, you have Kessel on the third line. So, for Phil, we'll do Philadelphia's lineup really quick.
Okay, so left to right wing, first line, we have Claude Giroux, Couturier, and Raffl. Oscar Lindblom, I think that's his name.
Lindblom.
Lindblom. Okay. Nolan Patrick, Jakub Voracek, Konecny, Filppula, Simmons, and then Lawton, Laterra, and Reed.
Yeah. So, like I was saying with like Pittsburgh's lineup, you have Pittsburgh here, who has, like I said, they have Crosby on one, Malkin on another, Phil Kessel on the third line. It's such a it's such good depth there. Where it's like Couturier, no doubt, is the best defensive forward that Philadelphia has, and you'll throw out like I feel like Mike Sullivan just laughing like, okay, you can try and shut down Crosby. We'll just throw out Malkin's line. We'll just throw out Kessel. Like, oh, you want to stop the Malkin line? That's cute. We'll throw out Crosby. Oh, you want to try and stop Crosby? Well, here's Kessel.
Right? I mean, Pittsburgh just has such firepower that I don't know if Philadelphia is going to be able to keep up with that. And like I said, it's nothing against Philadelphia, but I mean, it's not like Pittsburgh hasn't been here before.
Right. And I mean, you don't just win 2 Stanley Cups by lucking yourself into it. And I mean, again, they have the best player in the world with Crosby. I would arguably say the top 5 player in the world with Malkin. And I mean, what, like I said, lineup matchups. Let's say that first line versus Claude Giroux's line. It's Crosby versus Giroux. Yeah, I'll say that's a good head-to-head matchup. But then you got Oscar Lindbaum, Nolan Patrick, and Voracek. Like, you're really gonna have Voracek be on the spot for Malkin?
Right.
And then even so, going even further down, you're gonna have a rookie and I think he's a second-year player, but Konecki, and then you have Bilpia and Simmons, which I understand what they're doing. They're trying to spread the scoring there, but there's no, I don't know. You're gonna have them try to stop Kessel. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see the depth on that side. Now, let's talk about defense for each team. Now, defense, I feel, is a little bit different story where it kind of evens out. Now, I'm on Philadelphia's right now. Philadelphia has Provorov and Gostisbehere. Then you have Travis Sanheim, and then Andrew McDonald. And your third pairing is Brandon Manning and Gudas. Now, for Pittsburgh,
you got Dumoulin and Letang, Mata and Schultz, Hunwick and Alexiak.
Yeah, so I mean, I think for me, Dumoulin, he's a good pairing with Letang, but otherwise, if they're separated, Dumoulin's very weak for what his defensive positioning wise, because he really works off of what Letang does, and it's a good pairing for him. But he's off that line. It's a weird mix match with someone else. Now, Mata and Justin Schultz. Justin Schultz really has taken a step back this year in point production wise, but I think defensively his actual Corsi rating whatnot has actually risen comparatively speaking to last season, which is weird to say that you have a better Corsi rating with less points than you have with more points. But all in all, I think he's become a better defenseman. You know what I mean? Like he's become a better actual at the defensive part.
Yeah, and you just mentioned, it'd be weird combinations with
Dumoulin.
with Dumoulin. I feel like you could say that a lot about a lot of NHL defensemen who are in the league. Like they have that one guy that they're paired up with,
right,
that they have chemistry with and they play very well with.
Yeah, like Mathot with Carlson last year. So, but yeah, and in general, I mean, Mata's always been kind of one of those players. He hasn't been a star-studded player since he got drafted, but he's also not been a bad player. He has that long contract. He's been a good defenseman for them, but I wouldn't say he's the best. His Corsi rating's not too good, but he's still a young defenseman, so I don't blame him there. But the last defensive pairing, Hunwick and Alexiak, ouch.
Yeah, that's not going to be a very good matchup for any of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that one, but yeah, that one's not too good. But really quickly, I mean, just Provorov and Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere is coming up with 59 points, 59-point season. Provorov's really become that top pairing guy that they needed for a while. But otherwise, I was gonna say Philadelphia had the edge in defense, but really looking at it, I mean, you got Sanheim, who's really good, but then he has to get paired with McDonald, who's a pylon out there. Plus, even Brandon, you never know what Gudas is gonna do.
Right.
I mean, you have a lot of defensive liabilities there with only so much talent to throw around. I definitely think this one's gonna go Pittsburgh's way, just off of stats wise.
How many games?
I say, we'll go off the goalies really quick. Goalies are Matt Murray for Pittsburgh, and I don't know who they're gonna throw in. I think they're gonna have a 3-goalie monster there with Elliott, Mrazek, and Neuwirth.
Neuwirth, yeah.
Neuwirth, yeah. I'm not sure. I think if I'm Philadelphia, I would throw up Brian Elliott if I'm there. But yeah, being even goalie battles, I would definitely. Matt Murray hasn't lost the Stanley Cup yet, so I would go with Matt Murray. And I say it's going to be a hard fought series, but I think Pittsburgh's going to pull it out in 7.
I said 6.
Okay.
So I don't. I think Philly will get a couple lucky bounces in a couple of those games, but I don't see it.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's just so much depth issues here. At least like on paper wise, like you're gonna have Nolan Patrick, who's a rookie, gonna be either matched against Malkin or Crosby, with Jakub Voracek, who's a good scoring winger, but he's not a defensive player.
Absolutely. All right, that's where we're going to leave it there for this first segment. When we come back, we're going to break down the Tampa Bay Lightning versus New Jersey Devils when we come back here on the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon. You're listening to the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I got started at IMS here as an instructor a couple years back after I had heard a couple of people I worked with were also instructors here. I'm always here if you need help with developing what you're passionate about. And that's what most people come here for. They have a passion. They want to do something. They want to do radio play-by-play. They want to do sports talk. They want to do updates, whatever it may be. My name is Freddie Huebner. I work at ESPN 1000 as a host and sports anchor, and I am IMS.
Rainier to half and a drive to right. Go, baby. What were you saying, Jimmy? Yes, sir. Go! The season has begun.
Hey, it's Ben from Late Nights with Ben. The Cubs are off to a hot start and baseball season has officially begun. Tune in every Thursday night throughout the season to get Cubs and White Sox analysis. Also, the NFL draft is right around the corner, so we'll see if the Bears can build on an already busy offseason. So tune in to Late Nights with Ben every Thursday night from 9 to 10 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
April showers, they bring the flowers that bloom in May.
That's right, sports fans. April is here, which means two things: baseball season and playoffs. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? You heard it here first. The NHL and NBA playoffs are just around the corner. Tune in to the Nightcap every Monday night from 9 to 10 p.m. with Tim and Ben to catch all your latest playoff news and baseball action. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey, Chicagoland Prodigy here. Don't get an uproar, but rare store with us. We take home in the Final Four. Make sure to join me, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, Sid the Kid, Ralph Hill, or Corey Barber every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. and on deck as it's opening week in baseball. Backhand! Don't forget to miss out on all the NFL updates in the offseason.
Welcome to the internet, my friend. How can I help you?
And more. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Oh, my! Are you ready?
The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show gives fresh opinions about WWE, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, WrestleMania 34, and of course, so much more. This is made from a fan to the fan. The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show is more than just highlights. It is where you can hear the honest opinions about wrestling, promos, and its wrestlers. So come join me, Stephanie, on the latest in wrestling every Thursday from 2 to 4 on Chicagoland Sports Radio. It is not just sports, it's a way of life.
Previously on the Penalty Box. With 1 week left of the season, who's going to the playoffs?
Last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
Find out who we're taking this week in Golden Knights Gambling Gurus.
And it's going to be legendary.
Join us for 3 guys, 2 hours of hockey, and 1 Goontastic show. It's the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos, the Iceman, and the Goon. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey guys, it's Shoko from the R&R Show here, and we switch to a brand new day of the week. Now we're on Mondays, 4 to 6 p.m., and join us as we have to discuss opening week for baseball. And let's not forget our second hour as we switch gears and talk about esports, which will include the finale of the NorCal Regional Tournament for the top fighting games. And finally, we're discussing League of Legends' crazy playoffs for the North American LCS. So once again, join us Mondays, 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Get back ESPN 1000 because it's time for Raphael Young Show. No playoffs for the Bulls and Blackhawks. Don't be doing that, the Cubs. And the White Sox.
That ball hit hard. Giller's hit way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yeah.
Tune in every Monday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. at ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Tom Waddle, ESPN 1000.
Don't waste another minute in a career you don't love. You can be the next great announcer, DJ, producer, or TV reporter. You'll learn key skills from industry pros while working with professional equipment on air and behind the scenes. Still need to keep the 9-to-5 job? Their flexible class schedules can work around any schedule. Short on cash? They have very affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. You'll have access to amazing internships and job placement assistance when you graduate at top radio and TV stations like ESPN. Learn more at beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Back here on the penalty box where we wear our sunglasses at night? Question mark. I'm just kidding. All right, so now that we're in the swing of things with the playoffs. Happy playoff time, by the way.
Yes. Merry Festivus.
Merry Festivus to the rest of us. Absolutely. You know, it's funny. I kind of like this year that I don't have to cry or anything like that.
Watch the Blackhawks play.
Because I'll be watching. I don't know if you heard about this. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but they're actually showing playoff games on the Golf Channel. So I just assumed it was all the non-playoff teams in their golf tournament.
Yeah, it's just the Hawks.
Yeah.
Just the Hawks out there with their hockey bags, except in the hockey bag, it's golf clubs.
Hey, whatever works.
It is what it is. All right, let's get into our Tampa versus New Jersey Devils for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I laugh when I say this roster because it's so overpowered. So Steven Stamkos is the center on Daily Faceoff, but he's a question for the series. I think he's gonna be in. But anyway, for this lineup is left wing JT Miller, center Steven Stamkos, right wing Nikita Kucherov, second line Palat, Braden Point, Tyler Johnson. I think Tyler Johnson's gonna be on third line with Yanni Gourde at left wing, Kaloran at right wing, and then the fourth line is gonna be either Anthony Cirelli with switching out with Paquette, or is going to have vice versa. But anyway, the other left wing is Chris Kunitz and Ryan Callahan. What do we have for the Devils?
All right, so for the Devils, Taylor Hall, Nico Hischier, Kyle Palmieri, Miles Wood, Pavel Zacha. Did I pronounce that right?
Zacha? Sounds like a hot sauce.
Zacha, yeah. Patrick Maroon on that right wing on that second line. Blake Coleman, Travis Sajak, Drew Stafford, Michael Grabner, Brian Boyle, and Brian Gibbons. So it should be an interesting matchup here. You talk about that, powerhouse of an offense that Tampa Bay has. I tell you though, I really like this first line of Hall, Hischier, and Palmieri.
Yeah, I've always Nico. I think it's Hischier. I don't know, but we'll just call him Nico. Nico over there.
Does he have hot takes?
Probably. Well, he has Zacha down there, so something's hot. Nico came into form really. I feel like during the later half of the season, and it's just really it gives the Devils they have finally come with that first line center. I feel like he's becoming. Which is what they drafted first overall last year, grabbing the center for this purpose. Which it obviously comes in fruition here, which is really awesome. And Kyle Palmieri is no one's sleep. I think he had 49 points this season, but he's been a consistent 45 to 55 point player since traded to New Jersey, or maybe he signed there. I think he got traded. But that first line is really good. Now going to the second line with New Jersey, I just feel it's a good line. It would be a good third line. It's not a good second line, I think, because like we're saying, Zacha, he's coming into his own as a player. He's a young guy they drafted a couple years ago. Originally he was playing left wing, but he has such a big body that they moved him to the center. But he's playing with Patrick Maroon. He has two guys on his line who are pretty big dudes who can move the puck. But I just don't feel like that's a good second line. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you there. It just seems like after that first line, it's a little bit of a drop off.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at the third line there, you got Blake Coleman, Travis Zajac, who isn't the player that he used to be. Then you got Drew Stafford too. I mean, And then the fourth line is Michael Grabner, who doesn't seem to be finding his feet in New Jersey. I think he's only scored like 1, maybe 2 points since being acquired at deadline or a couple days before the deadline from New York. I mean, Brian Boyle's a good story, but no, he's a fourth line center, and that's why he plays his role well. But that's pretty much all that they have on that line. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay. Well, let's just say I think all three of their lines for the top 9 could be probably a top center line or top line. The first line with just JT Miller, Steven Stamkos, and Kucherov. You have one guy who was a 100-point scorer. You have another guy who has like 90 points. And then ever since JT Miller got traded from New York in that McDonough trade, the throw-in, he actually has like 19 points in 20 games.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah, and I mean that's a solid first line for that. And then you have your second line with Andre Palat, Braden Point, and most likely Killorn up there. But they switch it off. It's Tyler Johnson right now. But even so, I mean, Braden Point's a solid. He's a clutch player. I think in overtime this season he had like 19 out of his I think he had 55 points around that around there. But through those 20 of those points were overtime points, I believe. I'm completely wrong, but I do believe he had a lot of clutch goals. And I mean, there was this one goal where he just went around a player and deked it in overtime for the goal. But even that, Palat's a great two-way player. Tyler Johnson, great two-way player. Then on the third line, you just have rookie scoring sensation, 63 points, Yanni Gourde.
Which I don't think anybody saw that coming this year.
Not at all. I mean, the guy's on like a $1 million contract. Nothing. I mean, then you probably have Killorn or Johnson there. It's just they have so many line combinations. And even that third line, Chris Kunitz, 4-time Stanley Cup winner Chris Kunitz with Cedric Paquette or Cirelli or even Callahan too. I mean, Callahan's no one to scoff at in the playoffs. He's a hard character to go met. But definitely offensively wise, Tampa has the edge here. There's no debating that. Now on defense for Tampa though, we have Victor Hedman, who's arguably a Norris Trophy winner, the Norris Trophy winner for this year. You have Dan Girardi, who's found the fountain of youth. Then you have Ryan McDonough, who you got in the trade. You have Anton Strowman, and then you have Braden Colburn and another rookie sensation, Mikhail Sergachev. Now for New Jersey, who do we got?
Andy Green and Sammy Vatanen, and then John Moore, Mirko
Mueller.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, he was traded from San Jose. He was a first-round pick. Actually.
Is he really?
Yeah, he used to work out in San Jose. I don't know how he's doing in New Jersey, but go on.
Will Butcher and Ben Lovejoy.
You know, I wanted to say, I don't know where New Jersey would really be with their blue line if they didn't have Will Butcher there. I mean, Will Butcher, he was an unsigned college free agent this year. I'm not sure who he originally was drafted by. Maybe he wasn't drafted at all. But Will Butcher comes in, and he has a 44-point season, I believe. And it's just, he's been a really fine addition to that blue line that was kind of weak. And with the Adam Henrique trade that a lot of people criticized for just getting Vatanen back and how he didn't really get a lot of points in the beginning, Vatanen's really coming to his own this last little bit.
He was actually drafted 123rd overall in 2013 by the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, well, interesting. Interesting how players leave there. But yeah, I mean, he's really coming to his own this season. He had 44 points this year. Or how many points did he have?
Let's see. That is a really good question.
Well, either way, that comparatively speaking, blue lines. I mean, Andy Green's a top 6, top 4 at best. Vatanen's a good top 4 addition.
44 points. He had 5 goals, 39 assists in 81 games.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's I figured that's what he had. But yeah, I mean, Andy Green, this defense is not good. They've let up a lot of goals, but at the same time, I guess we'll talking about letting up goals. We'll go into to the goalie battle too, who is kind of interesting now that we're at it for Tampa Bay. Vasilevsky, I'm just gonna call him Vassy. He's let up a lot of goals this last little bit of the season. And it's been kind of an up and down battle for him with consistency this latter part. Because it seemed like he was a clear-cut Vezina winner heading into the trade deadline. And then that report when he came out when he's injured, he just seemed to have lost his his groove.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. We'll come back with the same conversation as we'll continue that when we come back from our sports update. So we'll take care of that real quick. We'll be right back with you on the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 2:30, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. Cubs fans, the wait is finally over. It's time for the home opener. Currently, Pittsburgh leads the Cubs 4-2 in the bottom of the third. More updates to follow there. The White Sox lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 5-4 in yesterday's game. Chris Archer picked up the win for the Rays. Two teams face off again as Carson Fulmer is on the mound. Hockey fans, no need to stress. 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are here. And while they start tomorrow, tomorrow night, Pittsburgh Penguins, Flyers, Wild Jets, Knights, Kings series all get underway. So I can't talk apparently. And in a surprise move, the Washington Capitals will not be starting Braden Holtby in net for the start of the playoffs. Philip Grubauer will instead get the start in Game 1 according to the score. More updates likely to follow. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. Welcome back to the Penalty Box. We're going to go ahead and continue our conversation about the goalies in this New Jersey Devils versus Tampa Bay Lightning series. I almost just said Tampa Bay Rays. All right, so
talking about Tampa Bay's goaltending now. Let's get into New Jersey's. At every show we mention them.
Yeah, right?
At Blockade 1.
Yes, possibly one of the best Twitter people there are out there.
So good. After every game, he just has he literally talks in emojis for games.
I have to laugh, though. I'm not a huge fan of him. We asked him a question. We tweeted at him, and he didn't respond.
Yeah, well, he's a busy guy. He's going out on Chipotle dates and meeting country stars and, backstopping the New Jersey Devils to the playoffs. I think that'll keep him a little busy.
That's nice.
That's not. Yeah, we're more important than that.
Exactly.
Well, like I said, he's the starting goaltender going into playoffs for the New Jersey Devils, which is kind of a big upset comparatively speaking because they have Corey Schneider there. So I'm sold on Kincaid because the last 25 games, he's been one of the best goaltenders in the league, keeping them in it.
Definitely. And we were talking about this before the show, and that Corey Schneider hasn't won a game since last year.
Yeah, I think it was like December 27th or something.
That's
like
pathetic.
That. I mean, but he's been injured too, so I'll give him that. This season has really been hard for him, but at the same time, when he has been healthy, he just hasn't been that Corey Schneider of last year. And it kind of maybe going a little bit further after the playoffs now, it's just something that they might look into. And when we were reading their lineups for forwards, I forgot to mention that Marcus Johansson, however he wants to say it, he's on injury reserve, but I've seen him play like 2 games prior to the end of the season, so he might be in there. Which I mean, if he does get in there, he's probably going to fit into that second first line to put Palmieri on the. It mixes up a little bit, gives him a little bit more depth at forward.
So who you got?
Who I got? I got Tampa Bay in 5.
Okay, I have New Jersey in 7.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go 7.
It happened.
You're nuts.
Whatever.
No way.
All right. Well, we're gonna leave it there, but when we come back, we're taking things to the wild side, I guess you could say. Boston, Toronto, as well as I believe we have one more series left after that.
Yeah, Columbus and
Washington. We'll talk about that. Break it all down for you next year on the Penalty Box with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos.
Oh.
Listening to the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Jonathan Hood, ESPN 1000.
People often ask me, Hoodie, how can I be a sports radio guy like you? I tell them it takes drive and determination, and you need to learn how it all works. You can learn to be a sports talk show host, a producer, do play-by-play, and shoot and edit video. You'll have a chance to get internships at stations where you can tap into the knowledge of industry pros. With job placement assistance, you can start your new career in 1 year. It's a great school to get the hands-on training you need for a broadcasting career, doing what you love. They have affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. So don't waste another minute. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Nothing moves the blob.
You know how John Cena for the past few weeks has been calling out Undertaker, telling him to do something? Hey, Kawhi, say something. Say something. I'm giving up on you. They're giving up on you. It's time for the first ever Bob Show freestyle. You ready? On ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
After an exciting tournament, we turn the page to what should be an epic baseball season. I'm Jay Pfeiffer, and myself and Lakina McGee bring you the latest news and notes from around the major leagues. With the NBA playoffs and the NFL draft approaching, you can't afford to miss all the coverage on Second City Sports every Thursday from 12 to 2 p.m. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicago sports in 2017 may have let us down, but 2018 figures to be a whole lot better, starting with the Loyola Chicago Ramblers making it to the Final Four.
And the Chicago Cubs are poised to have an amazing season this year as well.
Also, the Chicago Bears have made moves to make themselves stronger for the 2018 season.
Get your favorite Chicago sports news every Wednesday on the Chief Seats from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Iceman, for the crime of never being on the bench warmers, by the power invested in me by ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life. You have been damaged. Balance has been restored to the bench warmers. We'll have Big Meech and sometimes the Iceman. Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's here. It's finally here. Opening day. The 2018 MLB season is upon us. And here on Deep in the Dugout, you know we are beyond excited. We will break everything down from sacks, cups, and everything else around the league. Tune in to Deep in the Dugout Mondays, 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Santa Maria!
Tune into Students of the Game, where Dr. Joseph Gregory and Dr. Christopher Rouse know how to overcome heartbreak.
They broke my heart, and I'm heartbroken. But I'm here doing this show because I'm trying to be a professional. Huh? Not for you. Not for you. I had hugs yesterday. Not for you.
Students of the Game, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Sean Lang with the most action-packed 2 hours on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, the Fight League Report. On June 9th, UFC returns to Chicago for pay-per-view, the first time in 10 years. UFC 225, headlined by middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, defend his title against Yoel Romero in a rematch. Will the Reaper be victorious again, or will the Soldier of God become champion for the first time? We will break down the card and have exclusive interviews leading up to this event. The Fight Report, Tuesday at 12 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I've been in the radio and broadcasting business a long time, more than 3 decades, and I thought, if I spread my knowledge and shared what I know about the business with a lot of young minds, maybe I could get some of those people involved. And my dad talked to schools, and I thought I could do that too, and I could do it all in one place at Illinois Media School. I've been having a great time. I tell everybody I'm learning as much from the students as they learn from me. I am Eddie Volkman, and I am IMS.
All right, welcome back to the penalty box with Hot Take Nikos and the Goon.
What up?
Now that we're going to be breaking down the Boston Bruins Toronto Maple Leafs series. And, dude, we forgot to do it again. You can follow the Penalty Box Twitter at PenaltyBoxCSR, as well as you can follow me at JDHicks88. And
you can follow me on Twitter. I'm kind of cool. At MICHALS_NIKOS. Talk about the Leafs. And that's it. All right, well, let's get into this series.
All right.
Let's get into this meatful series. So, as a Leafs fan and for Leafs Nation, hoorah! This is a series of revenge. We are here to stake our claim for Lord Stanley on this ship of rightfulness and Profound.
Okay.
I mean,
talk about underselling that. If I were you, I'd be like, all right, listen, we haven't won a Stanley Cup in 50 years. It's time that we actually do something and win the Stanley Cup.
It's time we right the ship on this ship of glory. I don't know where the ship stuff's coming from.
Remember, it's better to live a day as a lion than 1,000 years as a lamb.
Freedom. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna do Leafs.
All right, go ahead.
For the Leafs, we got Zach Hyman, Austin Matthews, Willie Nylander for the first line. Second line, we have Patrick Marleau, Nazem Kadri, and Mitch Marner. Third line, we got JVR, Tyler Bozak, and Connor Brown. For that fourth line, we got Uncle Leo Komarov. We have Tomas Plekanec, Turtleneck. And we got the fastest skater in the world, Kasperi Kapanen.
I gotta say, I really I like that Seinfeld reference you threw in there. Uncle Leo!
Uncle Leo. Yes. So I think that Toronto's healthy. That's the main thing here. Toronto has a healthy lineup. No injuries. Austin Matthews has had his injury issues this season, but he's really come back and has really shown he's that top player, which no one's ever doubted. But just the fact that he's just come back from injury after being gone for what seemed like forever, he just comes and fits right back in. He's right back where he was before he left. So even that second line, you got Marleau, Kadri, Marner at 69 points. No, they just have so much depth. I mean, on the third, I kind of compare him to kind of like Pittsburgh in a way. It's not in the same capacity, because don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing these people to Crosby or Malkin, but I'm saying like depth-wise and what they bring to the table. And Matthews on one line with Nylander. You have Marner and Kadri on another. Then you have JVR, and I want to say Tyler Bozak. They have really good chemistry together. So, that's three solid lines that you have to deal with. And I mean, I'm not saying that the fourth line is neither, but you got Plekanec's a good player. He hasn't really shown it with the Leafs so far, but Kapanen brings the speed to that line, and Komarov is that great penalty killer who plays on the power play.
Get you and your turtleneck out of here.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Okay, bud. Who do we got for those guys?
For Boston, you got the Rat, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak, Jake DeBrusk, David Krejci, Rick Nash, Danton Heinen.
Danton Heinen.
Brian Giunta, David Backes.
For the center for that third line, it's Backes. Giunta's on the right line.
Oh, okay. I just read it how it is. Tim Shaler, Sean Karill, however you pronounce it. Corrali. And then Blackhawks legend Tommy Wingles.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Boston Bruins. That's a good lineup. They've had depth all season. But the thing is here, you have Bergeron, who again he's a hit away from getting injured. You have Krejci, who's always been injury prone here, and I mean it's going to be a tough series. Not saying that the Leafs are this big mean group that's going to go ahead and beat you with their hits, but at the same time they have players who are going to go in there and hit them. And then Rick Nash has been a great addition for the team, but at the same time he's been injured almost the entire time he's been with the Bruins. And I feel like they really miss Riley Nash in that lineup, who really brought a good depth third line center. He had like 40 points for him as a third line. He was good.
Well, and not to mention you have a guy in Brad Marchand who really is one stupid thing away from a suspension.
Right. And that's not to take away from what he's done this season, but it does. It takes away. He's not going to get any Hart votes because he's been suspended 5 games this season, and it's just been he's just a dirty player. But at the same time, Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak have made the best line in hockey. That's their possession numbers is unreal, and I mean just how the Pasternak had. I think he had 85 points. I mean, he might have 80. But anyway, that's still a lot of points for a right winger.
Absolutely.
Brad Marchand, he had like 85 points. I mean, if Bergeron would have been healthy, I think he had 33 goals and he had like 66 points around there. But if he would have played a whole season, that line's just crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like that line is really solid.
Yeah, and you mentioned the injuries. Riley Nash is still out. Let's see who else here. Anders Bjork.
Yeah, he's been injured like the entire time. Oh yeah, I mean we're not even get into their defense yet, but like even that back end's a little shaky. Let's go into the defense now. Who do you got?
I got Chara and McAvoy, Krug, Miller, Gritsek or whatever.
I don't
know. Adam McQuaid.
That's a made up name.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well here's the thing. Chara and McAvoy, great pairing. They've been a great pairing the entire season that McAvoy has been healthy for. But at the same time, McAvoy is coming back from an injury, and I'm not sure how he's gonna play. And that's the whole. And even as Daniel Chara is like if someone even taps him on that knee, he's been a walking dead for a little bit, at least from what I've watched. But you have that top pairing. If they're good and they're good to go, that's a top pairing that you watch out for. No one's getting past that, and they could play 30 minutes a game if needed. Now, for the second pairing, Krug, great offensive defenseman. Really, he can move the puck up. But they have Kevin Miller with him too, he's not a bad player, but they had Brandon Carlo up there for a little bit, who, like you were saying, going over the injuries, he's been one of the injured players. But if he comes back too, that's another addition to that blue line, and it makes it all come together there. You can move Kevin Miller down. You can get out Matt Grzelcyk. I'm gonna go with that. You move him out, and I mean it's not a bad lineup, but it's just the fact that there's so many injuries on this team that really makes it, questionable.
Yeah, definitely, and I don't know. It's gonna be a good, hard-fought series, that's for sure. A lot of emotion even before the series starts. You mentioned it before. You want revenge with this one, and I can't say I blame you. It's never a good feeling when, you watch your team get eliminated from the playoffs, especially after it seems like you've had, a stranglehold on the game and on the series.
I don't want to talk about 2013.
No, we're not.
Bring it up.
We're not going there. I promise, we're not going there. But you know what? Be nice to put those jokes to bed. That's for sure.
No doubt. And talk about jokes and mention the Toronto's defense. Bad cut. Anyway, let's go right into the Toronto's defense. Toronto's defense, you got Morgan Riley, Ron Hainsey, and you got Jake Gardner, Zaitsev, then Travis Dermott, and Polak. Now, they may not be household names. They may not be the strongest group. But when they play together, they make a fantastic Megazord. All of them are coming together. You got the blue Power Ranger, got the red Power Ranger, and their Megazords unite. And they make the giant
Is that where you were going with? Because I had no idea what you were talking about. Megazords.
Somebody does. Somebody's like, I get that. No, but here's the thing. Morgan Riley, he's really this year. I feel like it's his year. He came in. This is what we've always wanted him to be since he was drafted in 2012. That finally good top. He's not number one defenseman. I think he's a good one, like A, B, and like a good B kind of thing going. But Ron Hainsey, he was good the first 60 games. I don't know, he was sick and then he came back and he just hasn't been. I don't know what happened. He had the flu or something and came back. He just wasn't the same. But if he can find his game, then that top pairing is great again, and it's back to being that top pair. Now the second pairing, they have Zaitsev with Gardner. I don't know. Gardner is a great offensive player, and he can be good defensively here and there, but he just has too many mind lapses, and it's hard to watch him play sometimes. And Zaitsev just hasn't been a great player this whole season. He took a huge step back from his great season last year to this year. I would rather have Travis Dermott up there with Gardner, hopefully. But going into Travis Dermott, it's going to be Dermott and Polak. And Leafs fans know Polak is give or miss here, give or take. I'm not sure. But we have spring Polak, not winter Polak.
I was gonna say you were talking about that a little bit before the show.
It's horrible in the fall and winter, but when spring comes rolling around, he's ready to go. Hibernation is over. Springtime is here. Polak is here.
So he's bear.
He is bear. He is bear who wakes up. He's mad. He has big bushy beard. Yeah, weird guy. But all right, let's talk about net battles. We have Frederik Andersen versus Rask.
Tuukka Rask.
Rask has not been very consistent these last couple weeks. I shouldn't say weeks. Last week and a half.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like it's been a struggle. It was a struggle at the beginning of the year for sure for Tuukka Rask. He was just giving up soft goals, wasn't getting the defense in front of him that he needed. Now he kind of has it, and maybe it's a case of the playoff blues per se, where you clinch something and now it's like, all right, we're going to take our foot off the gas and see where it goes from there. With Boston in general, though, for not winning the Eastern Conference, I don't think it's going to make a difference. But when it comes to Toronto, obviously, and having Freddie Andersen, and that team, as we've seen Freddie Andersen in the past in the playoffs, Freddie Andersen can flat out play. So I like him. I like him in that.
The most underrated thing that nobody wants to talk about is that Tampa Bay and Boston were fighting to not play Toronto. And that's the biggest thing, I think. Nobody wanted to play Toronto. And, I mean, they were – obviously Boston lost that race for it. So we'll see. What do you got for the series?
I have Toronto.
In what?
In 6.
In 6. Okay. The Leaf in me wants to say Toronto in 4. The realistic person wants to say Leafs in 7.
Leafs in 7.
Leafs in 7. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that I feel like it's gonna be like a same kind of 2013 kind of feel.
I thought we weren't going there.
I know. I'm sorry. So I think
you want to yell at me for making a joke? No, I'm just
I think it's gonna be Toronto will probably win the first one. I think they're gonna win the first 2. Boston will come back, and then it'll just be you win, I'll win, and then that final game 7 at Boston. And Leafs have played very well against Boston this season.
So Boston, if I'm not mistaken, has home ice.
Boston does.
Okay. So realistically speaking, from a Toronto Maple Leafs fan perspective, if you take at least one in Boston, you're in good shape.
We can win in Boston. We will win in Boston.
I'll tell you what, James Van Riemsdyk, it's a pleasure hearing you say and be so confident like that. We'll see exactly what happens. You never know. Tuukka Rask could come out and not play effective at all.
No, he's done.
Okay.
He's done.
All right, I like the trash talk here.
All right, after this break, we're gonna be moving on to the Columbus and Washington series, but we have a special guest coming in soon. We're gonna be talking Oilers for a little bit. I know all you guys are so excited to talk about the Oilers.
We are. Hey,
I am. I am. We are. So we don't care what you
This is the Penalty Box with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos. We'll be back here on the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey, it's Chris Reese, and I am so glad to be back at IMS. I graduated back in 2007, started my career at US 99.5, started working with Lisa and Ray. I was the producer there for about 7-8 years, and I am so glad to be back in the building teaching some new students here, getting them back doing Adobe, getting over that fear of talking on the radio. And it's Chris Reese, night guy on 101.9 The Mix, and I am IMS.
After a long and grueling winter, April is finally here, and you know what that means.
This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. Baseball.
That's right. America's pastime has finally returned. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, as we keep you up to date with all the latest Cubs and Sox news throughout this baseball season. That's right. Tune into the K-Trey Show every Monday night from 7 to 9, only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
It's here. It's here. It's finally here. Opening day. The 2018 MLB season is upon us. And here on Deep in the Dugout, you know we are beyond excited. We will break everything down from Sox, Cubs, and everything else around the league. Tune in to Deep in the Dugout Mondays, 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Santa Maria! Baseball season is here, so what are you guys doing getting ready for it? I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm listening to the Herd Himself with Amber and Joe, Wednesdays from 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. I'm listening to what they're doing when it comes to the White Sox, the Cubbies. They're going to break down the north side, the south side, bring the sites together. It is a wonderful back on the Herd Himself every single Wednesday, 4 to 6, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. Is Rizzo back? What's happening with the White Sox? Herd Himself, Wednesdays, 4 to 6.
So you want to be in broadcasting, but you don't know where to start? Illinois Media School is a great beginning. If you want to work in front of the camera or mic or behind the scenes, IMS will help you prepare for a career in broadcasting in just 8 months. And financial aid is available for those who qualify. So what are you waiting for? Call the Illinois Media School at 312-884-8000, 312-884-8000, or visit the website at beonair.com.
Nothing moves the blob.
You know how John Cena for the past few weeks has been calling out Undertaker, telling him to do something? Hey, Kawhi, say something. Say something. I'm giving up on you. They're giving up on you. It's time for the first ever Bob Bob Show freestyle. You ready? Psych, I ain't doing that. Tune into the Bob Blob Show with me, Bob Blob, Wednesdays from 11 to 1 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Previously on the Penalty Box. With 1 week left of the season, who's going to the playoffs?
Last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
Find out who we're taking this week in Golden Knights Gambling Gurus.
And it's going to be legendary.
Join us for 3 guys, 2 hours of hockey, and 1 goon-tastic show. It's the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos, the Iceman, and the Goon. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
How's it going? My name is Edgar Ibarra, and I'm very grateful for all the knowledge I received at the Illinois Media School. My 15-year career in radio has been a dream come true. I'm a radio DJ, I'm on the air, and I get to be a program director for 2 radio stations in Wisconsin. My dream became a reality with the Illinois Media School. Illinois Media School is a great school with great teachers and former students now working in the industry today on the radio stations you listen to and on the TV stations you watch every day. Illinois Media School, check it out. For more details, beonair.com.
I couldn't have said it better myself. This is Jonathan Hood, instructor at the Illinois Media School, formerly Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So many reasons for you to consider Illinois Media School: financial aid for those who qualify, real-world hands-on experience, internships, and so much more. Don't just take my word for it. Set up a tour at one of the 2 Chicagoland locations. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports to learn more. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 3 o'clock, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to BeOnAir.com. From Wrigley Field, Cubs and Pirates are in the top of the fifth inning. Pirates leading 5-2. The White Sox lost to the Tampa Bay Rays yesterday, 5-4. Carson Fulmer is on the mound for the Sox. Hockey fans, no need to stress. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are here. Well, okay, one more day, but tomorrow night, the Penguins, Flyers, Wild, Jets, and Kings and Knights series will all get underway, respectively. And in a surprise move, the Washington Capitals will not be starting Braden Holtby and not for the start of the playoffs. Philip Grubauer will instead start Game 1, according to the score. More updates to follow. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. All right, welcome back to the penalty box here with the Goon and Hot Take Nikos. We promised it before, and now we're going to go ahead and get into some Oilers talk.
Hey, what's going on, Sean? You here?
Yeah, I'm here.
What's going on, Sean? How you doing today?
Oh, not too bad, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem, no problem. Now, you're our Oilers expert.
Okay.
So, what happened this season?
Well, before we get into that, I thought you hung up on me because I picked Boston over Toronto in 7.
Oh, you have Boston over Toronto? Come on.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Come on. I don't see it, man. I just don't see it. Man, I got to say that. Well, I got to say this. So, I got to keep the fans happy.
Yeah, well, I don't really have a horse in this race, but I hope the Canadian teams do well anyways.
There we go. There we go. So, Oilers.
As far as the Oilers go this year, I mean, it was a tough season for sure. I think a lot of the experts picked the Oilers to go to the Stanley Cup Finals, if not win it. I think Vegas, they had the best odds, but it's a lot of times when you have heightened expectations, it comes with more pressure. And I think for a young team with young captain, that I think they kind of struggled a little bit with the pressure early, and then it just kind of snowballed from there.
Kind of tampered off. Yeah, I was thinking I wasn't one of the people that said that they were gonna be like Stanley Cup champions, but I definitely was one that said, yeah, they're gonna make the playoffs for a second year. And I feel like last year a lot of guys had, I wouldn't say like super career years, but I feel like it had that that storyline to be you do good one year, then the next year it falls off. But it felt like a lot of players just kind of fell off.
Yeah, well, it was a combination of things this year for sure. But you're right as far as when you talk about Milan Lucic, for example, he had 23 or 25 goals a year before, and this year he only had 10. And then Klefbom had a bum shoulder all year, and I think he had 12 goals last year, and I forget 16 power play points. And then this year he only had like 6 goals, whatever. So they didn't get a lot of support from some of the younger guys that they were banking on, like Slepyshev and Puljujarvi and that as well. And, they traded away Eberle, who had 20 goals last year. And like you said, it's just it's hard for those young guys all to step up at once because last year was kind of a perfect storm, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So speculating, of course, where do you see the Oilers in the draft this year? Like what draft position you think?
Well, we're 9th right now. Unless somebody behind us, I guess, jumps into the top 3, then they would move down.
No, I've done that.
Hawks are 7 and the Oilers are 9.
Right. So I've done that. The NHL. You could try and do your own draft odds and whatnot. I've done that probably 100 times, and like 50 times the Oilers came out as number 1.
Who did?
The Oilers came out as number 1.
Well, there you go. That's
the
good.
draft
Well, the Oilers are good at anything. It's winning a draft lottery.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Keep our fingers crossed.
What do you think they should go for in the draft? Like what? A scoring winger?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, it's they've got a few holes. I mean, it's when you have McDavid and Draisaitl down the middle, you've got a great start, right? And they had Hopkins for a bit where he was a third center, and now he seems to fit in nicely with McDavid on the top line. But you're looking for complementary players. Now they do have a hot young prospect, Kyler Yamamoto, who played 10 games or 9 games last year. He's more than likely going to make the team next year, and he may even play on the top line. But the goal is to try and find somebody to play with Draisaitl,
Right.
to kind of get you that secondary scoring, right? So I guess come draft time, it would be nice if they were to get a top 3 pick. You know, they could take a guy like Svechnikov or Zadina, but if not, if they end up sitting at 9, the odds of getting an impact player in the next year or two are probably a little less likely. So they'll probably just go with a puck-moving defenseman, I would imagine.
Right, no doubt. And I was always thinking, you know, what about I'm gonna butcher his name, but Jesse Puljujarvi. Where does he fit in with the Oilers? Like, is he just lost right now?
That's a good question. It's funny, as far as the management goes, the team, it's almost like they're on 2 different pages. Like, I'm convinced at the beginning of the year, Chiarelli said, okay, here's the general manager, Peter Chiarelli. You know, here's what I've got. I've got Hopkins, Draisaitl, and McDavid down the middle. Here you go, McLellan. This is what you've kind of got that core. Now you just get these young pieces, move them up and down the lineup however you want, but just make it work, make it fit. And Jesse Puljujarvi was supposed to be a big part of that. And for whatever reason, McLellan is more of a you have to prove it to me first,
earn
kind of
it.
coach. And you know, he had a very veteran team in San Jose, and it seemed like whenever there was a mistake by Puljujarvi or another guy like Anton Slepyshev, McLellan was quick to kind of pull them out of the top 6 and put them in the third,
the bottom
line, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean,
I think that's not really what the GM had in mind. He expected more of a push in the top 6, playing with talented players and help them develop. And the coach kind of disagreed with that, and I think it's kind of hurt his progression so far. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And I've always felt, you know, last season Slepyshev was in the lineup too, and I feel like he was brought in. They felt like he was going to be more of an offensive player, but he's one of those guys that they put him down in the minors, they bring him back up, they have him in a scoring position on that third line, then they move him up the lineup. It's like they're just moving him everywhere, and I feel like he's not turning out to what they want him to be, which is like a utility player. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's just one of those things where it's, you know, you're moving players up and down, but they're not going to be able to succeed. And I'm not sure for, like, going back with Puljujarvi, you know, if Yamamoto comes up and takes that top line spot, I don't think Puljujarvi is a second line, winger, and he doesn't fit in on the third or fourth line, which McLellan likes to have more of like a crash and bang kind of thing going. But it's going to be I feel like it's a harder process for getting into the lineup here, which it really shouldn't be considering where they're at.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, like you said, Puljujarvi, I mean, he's still a young player, and he's going to have ups and downs, whatever. But the talent's there, and same with Slepyshev. Like, he has a wonderful skill set. Like, he has a dynamite shot, and he's a great skater. It goes back to, again, McLellan not really trusting the young guys, and there's been so much shuffling of lines, and I know Babcock does a lot of that.
Oh yeah, know all about that.
Babcock kind of comes from the same tree, but even Connor McDavid late in the year, he kind of alluded to it and said it's nice to play with Hopkins for more than a couple games. It seems like we're always changing lines. People in Edmonton kind of took that as a shot at the coach, right? And I think, again, the GM kind of had a plan, and this is how I want it. The coach has kind of shuffled the deck so much that now he doesn't really know where he stands. So it's really affecting the younger players in particular.
With that, how short is the leash next season for GM Pete Chiarelli and head coach Todd McLellan?
That's a good question. I think at this point, and I know Todd McLellan had a presser yesterday, and where he's fully confident he's coming back as the coach. I'm still not convinced that is going to be the case. Chiarelli still has not come out and had his end of year press conference, and part of me thinks that they're kind of waiting to see who shakes loose from the playoffs. Like if Washington gets knocked out first round or whatever, and Barry Trotz is available, even Bruce Boudreau gets knocked out first round. I feel like they're kind of just sitting and waiting to see if something better shakes loose, and if not, well, then they'll just kind of stick with the Clowns. So if they do end up sticking with them next year, I think you're probably looking at 15, 20 games max.
That's what I was thinking.
They're off to another start like they did this year. The owner is very impatient, and he wanted to pull the plug in January, apparently, on the coaching staff. So if they start off slow again next year, I think you'll see both of them let go.
Yeah, I think, and that's not to say Todd McClellan's a bad coach at all. I mean, I just feel like with this group, when he first came in, I think he was going to be under the understanding that he was going to have more of not a veteran group, but in like the middle kind of area with like young players, like with Hall, you have Nugent Hopkins, you have Eberle. I felt like he was like, all right, now I'm going to have players who are already in the league and they have the skill. We just need to put it all together. And it seems like all these players got traded away, and it was just now he's working with players that are, he has Lucic. He has Lucic and he has McDavid. And then you have insert random winger here. Maybe Nugent Hopkins will come back, insert him. But, it's hard to – and you have I'm not saying Draisaitl is nothing, but, you're trying to make him a second-line center, but then you keep moving him up to the wing. And it's just the inconsistencies of, like you were saying, the position-wise and who's playing where. It's too. I think like it's hard for these younger players. That's again bringing it back. With Puljujärvi, where are you going to put him if you're going to constantly make these moves? But
yeah, exactly. And the thing is too, they acquired Ryan Strome for Eberle.
Oh,
and they did the same thing to Strome. They were playing him on the wing. They were playing him at center. I remember McClellan saying about a month or two ago, he said we didn't know who he was. We didn't know if he was a center or left wing. So we kept shuffling him around. Well, finally, when they settled on one position and just let him, assume that third center role, he flourished. He was playing with Puljujärvi a lot, and they were logging good minutes, and they were playing and some good hockey. But, yeah, I don't know. It's really frustrating as an Oilers fan because you look at they have the best player in the world,
right?
The
108 points,
Hutch Trophy winner, and our power play is 31st in the league. Like, how is that even possible, right? The coach couldn't fix the power play, he couldn't fix penalty kill, and he shuffled the line.
Yeah, and there was a quote that I will not say, I forget who it was, but I remember they were always saying, McDavid you have the fastest player in the world, and McDavid playing on the slowest team in the NHL. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and
I don't know about their speed if they're that slow. It just may move a lot faster.
Right.
But they're certainly not a team.
Yeah.
It does come across that way when you're not giving the effort or you're not walking fast enough.
No doubt. All right. Well, before we let you go, I know you said you have Boston beating Toronto, but who do you got for your Stanley Cup for the East? Who do you got for the East?
Well, just full disclaimer here, I picked Columbus last year and they got knocked out first round. So take this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But for the East, I messaged you guys there before. Everybody's sleeping on the Flyers, and I was kind of hoping they would get Washington. I think they could take them out, but Pittsburgh is probably going to be too tough of a task to get over. Although if Matt Murray gets hurt, then all bets are off.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
In the East, I'd probably take. I'm going to take Boston just because they've got so much depth and their defense. As long as Rask holds up, it should be fine.
All right. And who do you got for the West?
And then the West, going off the board, I'm
Nashville.
I really like LA.
Oh, you like LA?
Quick, and I like the defense of Quick.
Wow.
Their defense of Doughty and Muzzin and Martinez and Phaneuf, and they got Kopitar and Carter up front. I think if they beat Vegas, they'll get San Jose or Anaheim. They can handle them, and then they just got to get by Nashville or Winnipeg. So I think it's kind of an easier path to get there.
Okay.
They've been there before, so I'm gonna pick the Kings.
All right, so Stanley Cup final. You got Kings, or you got the other?
Boston and LA.
Okay, who do you got for that then? Boston or LA?
Yeah, I'm gonna take.
That would be a fun series to watch.
Yeah, it would be. I'm going to take Boston. It kind of goes against what I did in my other bracket before, but this way I'm covering my bets. Either way, I'll take Boston and over LA in the final.
All right, Sean, that's all the time we got. Thank you for coming on the show, man. Hope to have you on again soon.
All right, great show, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right. Well, that was some great conversation there from our Oilers insider.
Yes, Mr. Sean. Mr. Sean.
Who's
Go
taking
follow him.
Boston. Yeah.
Go follow him on Twitter at the Oil Knight. He provides great perspectives on Oilers. He writes for the Oilers for prospects and whatnot. He goes over the OHL at the OHL.ca.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're gonna break down Washington and Columbus and hopefully get into the Western Conference here sometime today. You're listening to the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I got started at IMS here as an instructor a couple years back after I had heard a couple of people I worked with were also instructors here. I'm always here if you need help with developing what you're passionate about. And that's what most people come here for. They have a passion. They want to do something. They want to do radio play-by-play. They want to do sports talk. They want to do updates, whatever it may be. My name is Freddie Eupner. I work at ESPN 1000 as a host and sports anchor, and I am IMS.
To half and a drive to right. Go, baby. What were you saying, Jimmy? Yes, sir. Go! The season has begun.
Hey, it's Ben from Late Nights with Ben. The Cubs are off to a hot start and baseball season has officially begun. Tune in every Thursday night throughout the season to get Cubs and White Sox analysis. Also, the NFL draft is right around the corner, so we'll see if the Bears can build on an already busy offseason. So tune in to Late Nights with Ben every Thursday night from 9 to 10 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
April showers, they bring the flowers that bloom in May.
That's right, sports fans. April is here, which means two things: baseball season and playoffs. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? You heard it here first. The NHL and NBA playoffs are just around the corner. Tune in to the Nightcap every Monday night from 9 to 10 p.m. with Tim and Ben to catch all your latest playoff news and baseball action. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey, Chicagoland Prodigy here. Don't get an uproar, but rare store with us. We take you home in the foul four. Make sure to join me, Charles Prodigy Ritchie, Sid the Kid, Ralph Hill, or Corey Barber every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. and on deck as it's opening week in baseball. Backhand! Don't forget to miss out on all the NFL updates in the offseason.
Welcome to the internet, my friend. How can I help you?
And more. Only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Oh, my!
Are you ready?
The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show gives fresh opinions about WWE, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, WrestleMania 34, and of course, so much more. This is made from a fan to the fan. The Rising Feminist Wrestling Show is more than just highlights. It is where you can hear the honest opinions about wrestling, promos, and its wrestlers. So come join me, Stephanie, on the latest in wrestling every Thursday from 2 to 4 on Chicagoland Sports Radio. It is not just sports, it's a way of life.
Previously on the Penalty Box. With 1 week left of the season, who's going to the playoffs?
Last game of the year, Brent. Can't hold anything back now.
Find out who we're taking this week in Golden Knights Gambling Gurus.
And it's going to be legendary.
Join us for 3 guys, 2 hours of hockey, and 1 Goontastic show. It's the Penalty Box with Hot Take Nikos, the Iceman, and the Goon. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Hey guys, it's Choco from the R&R show here, and we switch to a brand new day of the week. Now we're on Mondays, 4 to 6 p.m., and join us as we have to discuss opening week for baseball. And let's not forget our second hour as we switch gears and talk about esports, which will include the finale of the NorCal Regional Tournament for the top fighting games. And finally, we're discussing League of Legends' crazy playoffs for the North American LCS. So once again, join us Mondays, 4 to 6 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Get back ESPN 1000 because it's time for the Raphael Young Show. No playoffs for the Bulls and Blackhawks. Don't be doing that, the Cubs. And the White Sox.
That ball hit hard. Giller's hit way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yeah.
Tune in every Monday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Tom Waddle, ESPN 1000.
Don't waste another minute in a career you don't love. You can be the next great announcer, DJ, producer, or TV reporter. You'll learn key skills from industry pros while working with professional equipment on air and behind the scenes. Still need to keep the 9-to-5 job? Their flexible class schedules can work around any schedule. Short on cash? They have very affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. You'll have access to amazing internships and job placement assistance when you graduate at top radio and TV stations like ESPN. Learn more at beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Hey there, welcome back to the penalty box with the Goon. And maybe Hot Take Nico's after this week if he stops calling me Grandpa.
Hi, Grandpa.
And I'm 23 years old, all right? That's not cool.
Yeah, but struggling to figure out computers, got laser pointers going in your head. Oh, I can't figure it
Some
out.
lady just shot me with a laser pointer through the window. What is this?
Oh, what is this technology?
These darn youngins.
Darn technology.
These meddling kids.
Meddling. Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about meddling playoffs.
All right. So we have the so-called Washington Capitals.
Well, the final,
yeah,
our final Eastern matchups.
Washington Capitals versus the Columbus. I want to say they're the Blue Jackets.
Blue
Chokers.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Aren't they? They're chokers, right?
I mean, who? They both are.
Yeah, that's true.
Blue Jackets.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to say that without getting any.
Well,
I don't know
who we got here. We got Ovechkin and the Grubauer led
oh my goodness
Capitals versus the Panarin and Bobrovsky.
It's basically the Capitals versus the Panera Breads.
Well, and Seth Jones and Zach Werenski, who are two of the best defensive pairs in the world. So,
according to who? I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying they're good. So I don't know. For this series, weird. I think I really don't know. This is the one series that I was kind of like looking at it like, maybe they I don't know. Who do you got?
Because it could go either way.
Yeah, you have two teams that are just so in the playoffs. It's kind of like I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, who do you got for this one?
Washington's usually a lock for the first round, so I'm gonna go with Washington.
Okay, I want Ovi to win a cup, but I also don't want him to beat the Leafs. But I like Ovechkin, so Ovechkin wins over, and I say Capitals in 6.
Capitals in 4. Take it to the bank. No, Caps in 5.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, playoff Bobrovsky is pretty bad too, and I mean, the Blue Jackets have had like a middling power play, a penalty kill, and the Washington Capitals have like the third best power play.
You know, everyone wants to talk about how bad the Oilers and Blackhawks power plays are, but in the regular season, the Blue Jackets power play was awful.
That is true. I don't know. That's a weird series.
So yeah, Washington in 5. I think Grubauer proves up to the hype. If not, we don't know what Braden Holtby's going to look like in these playoffs.
True that.
All right, go ahead. Western Conference.
All right, we're gonna do LA and the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah, you know, newest teams start out first.
Yes.
Why not?
For the LA Kings, we have for their lineup, we have left wing Alex Iafallo, we have center Anze Kopitar, right wing Dustin Brown, second line Tobias Rieder, we have Jeff Carter, Tyler Toffoli, and then for Tanner, we have third line Tanner Pearson, then we have Adrian Kempe, then Trevor Lewis, followed by Kyle Clifford, Mike Amadio, and Torrey Mitchell.
It's a me, Mario.
Amadio. It's a me, Amadio.
All right, and then for the Vegas Golden Knights, you have Marcia Salt, Carlson, Smith, James Neal, Eric Holla, Alex
Holla.
Tooch, Holla Holla, we them boys. I'm just kidding.
No.
Tatar Eakin Carpenter, Nozick, Bellamare, whatever.
You're never gonna try the first name.
Pierre, Edo
Beware.
Weird,
Beware, Edward.
Pierre Edward,
And we'll carry.
Bellamare, and then we'll carry her. Absolutely. All right. So looking at this lineup, this is a Vegas Golden Knights team who has faced a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries in their first year of existence on the ice.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah.
They've always seemed to overcome it. Now, the thing that's going to be so interesting about this is, can they go ahead and take the momentum that they've had during the regular season and turn it over into the playoffs?
I think so. I feel like they're just that team they can beat you with speed. They can shut it down defensively. They have people who can do it. I mean, look at their lineup. You have William Karlsson, who, like, for the first part of his career, he was a third line defensive center, and he knows how to play defense. Now he just suddenly knows how to score. So you have that. I'm not going to compare him to Bergeron, but he's not at all like Bergeron. But he's just one of those players in esque kind of way. I'm not comparing him to him, but he could play that defensive game, and if he needs to, he can score. I mean, at the same time, you have Eric Holla, who was also like a kind of a third line player checking forward, and then you also have Ryan Carpenter and Cody Eakin. They have good forwards who can sit here and play the defensive game, but can also turn around on that cycle and burst through the neutral zone and just create that offense, which I'm not sure the Kings can do that, handle that.
Yeah, and then looking at this lineup for for Vegas, you have a lot of these guys like William Karlsson, who we just talked about, who great player, Jonathan Marchessault, who was kind of like really good in Florida, and now he's just amazing, and maybe it's the change of scenery for some of these players.
Right? Yeah, I think so. I mean, you say that story about a lot of players, but in general, I do like Vegas's odds, but we'll talk about the Kings a little bit. So the Kings are not just the Anze Kopitar show. The Kings have that first line, Alex Alafalo. It's not the point total I think a lot of people are expecting to have, but at the same time, he kind of plays. I will compare it to the Leafs. He's kind of plays that Zach Hyman kind of play where you put this forward who kind of do everything on that top line. He may not produce the points, but he definitely shows up every game, goes after pucks and shovels it over to Kopitar, who can score, obviously. I mean, Dustin Brown has had an amazing season as well. Just purely fact that he was in the cutting block, the slaughterhouse. He was ready to just be shipped off, maybe even bought out this season if he had another bad one. But he had 29 goals, maybe 30 goals this season, and he's really shown he could be that top six forward again. And I mean, ever since Jeff Carter came back, I feel like that kind of sparked this Kings team.
That is the understatement of the year right there.
He was a deadline pickup without them having to pick up anybody.
Right. And I just kind of love it, when you're able to bring guys in and they don't really have to do much, and all of a sudden your team gets sparked and it's nuts.
No doubt.
It's fantastic.
So who do you got for this series?
All right, so my mind is telling me to go with the underdog, and I'm going to take LA in 7.
Really? Well, I'm going to go with Sean's pick as well. I'm going to go with the LA Kings. I don't want to, but I feel like it's a safe pick.
Right.
And I'm all about safety. So
Is that a Home Depot tagline? No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
God, no. No, I'm gonna go with the Kings in 6. Kings in 6.
Well, it's funny. 3 weeks ago, you're saying Vegas is getting swept out of the playoffs.
Kings in 4.
Kings in 4.
Kings in 4.
All right. Well, unfortunately, that's where we're gonna have to leave this conversation. But when we come back, we'll be talking about something here. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And then stay tuned as we break down the other 2 or 3 playoff series a little bit later in the show. You're listening to The Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Chicagoland Sports Radio Sports Update.
At 3:30, I'm the Goon with your ChicagolandSportsRadio.com update, brought to you by the Illinois Media School. For more information on careers in broadcasting, go to beonair.com. Cubs home opener was today. Pittsburgh currently leads the Cubs 5-2 in the top of the seventh. Crazy game going on there. The White Sox lost to the Tampa Bay Rays 5-4 yesterday. And in that game, Chris Archer picked up the win for the Rays. These two teams face off again as Carson Fulmer is on the mound. Hockey fans, no need to stress. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs are here. They start tomorrow night as the Penguins and Flyers get set. Wild and Jets and Kings versus Knights series will all get underway. And in a surprise move, the Washington Capitals will not be starting Braden Holtby in net for the playoffs. Philip Grubauer will now instead start game one according to the score. Hopefully more updates are likely to follow. This update is also brought to you by IIT Men's Baseball. The next home game broadcast will be April 17th when they take on Wisconsin Whitewater at 1 and 4 p.m. For tickets, visit IllinoisTechAthletics.com. I'm the Goon, and you're listening to Chicagoland Sports Radio. It's not just sports, it's a way of life. All right, welcome back to the penalty box here. We're, I guess, let me ask you this hot take. What is going to be in your opinion? Oh, I'm sorry. What is going to be in your opinion the weirdest thing that's going to happen in these playoffs? Like, do you have an upset?
I don't have an upset, but I kind of want to see just 80s hockey in this playoffs. Like, I really wanted Tampa and Toronto, so we could just see 8-5, like 7-6 scores. But I feel like one of these series, I don't know which one's going to be. It's just going to be just, well, we can't play defense, so let's just play offense. I don't know which one, but I really don't want any sweeps. I really do want some close series. I want this hockey season to be extended as long as it can. So I hope that there's a lot of game 7.
So yeah, I was gonna say. So essentially, you want every series to go to game 7.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
How much clutchness would be in that? That I don't know. I'm a big fan of that whole game 7 on the line. Every kid dreams of it. Like you're in game 7 Stanley Cup playoffs. It's in overtime. You just want to get your stick, skate down the ice, and score that goal. Every kid has that dream. And I believe every NHL player grew up with that same kind of attitude or dream.
Yeah, and then overtime ends and you get ready for the shootout. I'm just kidding. That would be a horrible way, horrible way to end playoff games. No, I'll agree with you in that sense. I remember, just a few years ago, some of these games that are going into the third overtime, and you're like, okay, when is it gonna end? Who's gonna score?
Oh yeah, Hawks are brutal for that.
Absolutely.
Be up until like 3 a.m. Krug scores. Like, okay. Also,
right.
In the morning.
Oh, that was the Anaheim series. Andrew Shaw head-butted the puck in, and they ruled it no goal.
Brutal. Kruger. When Kruger scored that overtime. Oh, and
assisted by no one other than Brent Seabrook.
Right. And then that one with the car bomb when he scored that overtime goal. Remember that there? And he sat on the ice, and everybody came and tackled him. I remember Carcillo.
Yeah, Carcillo. That was during the regular season, though, that shortened season. It was on the Sports Illustrated cover. The franchise that brought the franchise that brought the NHL back. Yeah, that was during the regular season during their streak.
Oh,
which is kind of interesting, I guess.
That was broke by Colorado.
Yeah, such a shame. But all right, that's fine. Whatever, got jokes. All right. Well, speaking of jokes, no, I'm just kidding. We're gonna take a break here, and when we come back,
we will be talking about the Sharks and the Ducks. Let's go duck hunting, boys.
And whatever else comes to mind here on the Penalty Box, ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Time to kick off your career in radio or TV broadcasting at the Illinois Media School's downtown Chicago campus. Call us at 312-884-8000 or visit 530 South State Street to learn how you can make your dreams of being on television and radio a reality. Don't take my word for it. Check out what some industry professionals said about the Illinois Media School.
Jonathan Hood, ESPN 1000.
People often ask me, Hoodie, how can I be a sports radio guy like you? I tell them it takes drive and determination, and you need to learn how it all works. You can learn to be a sports talk show host, a producer, do play-by-play, and shoot and edit video. You'll have a chance to get internships at stations where you can tap into the knowledge of industry pros. With job placement assistance, you can start your new career in 1 year. It's a great school to get the hands-on training you need for a broadcasting career, doing what you love. They have affordable tuition and financial aid for those who qualify. So don't waste another minute. Go to beonair.com/Chicago Sports. That's beonair.com/Chicago Sports.
Nothing moves the blob.
You know how John Cena for the past few weeks has been calling out Undertaker, telling him to do something? Hey, Kawhi, say something. Say something. I'm giving up on you. They're giving up on you. It's time for the first ever Bob Bob Show freestyle. You ready? Psych, I ain't doing that. Tune into the Bob Blob Show with me, Bob Blob, Wednesdays from 11 to 1 on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
After an exciting tournament, we turn the page to what should be an epic baseball season. I'm Jay Pfeiffer, and myself and Lakina McGee bring you the latest news and notes from around the major leagues. With the NBA playoffs and the NFL draft approaching, you can't afford to miss all the coverage on Second City Sports every Thursday from 12 to 2 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Chicago sports in 2017 may have let us down, but 2018 figures to be a whole lot better, starting with the Loyola Chicago Ramblers making it to the Final Four.
And the Chicago Cubs are poised to have an amazing season this year as well.
Also, the Chicago Bears have made moves to make themselves stronger for the 2018 season.
Get your favorite Chicago sports news every Wednesday on the Chief Seats from 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Iceman, for the crime of never being on the bench warmers, by the power invested in me by ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life. You have been damaged. Balance has been restored to the bench warmers. We'll have Big Meech and sometimes the Iceman. Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's here. It's here. It's finally here. Opening day. The 2018 MLB season is upon us. And here on Deep in the Dugout, you know we are beyond excited. We will break everything down from sacks, cups, and everything else around the league. Tune in to Deep in the Dugout Mondays, 2 to 4 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, where it's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Santa Maria!
Tune into Students of the Game, where Dr. Joseph Gregory and Dr. Christopher Rouse know how to overcome heartbreak.
They broke my heart, and I'm heartbroken. But I'm here doing this show because I'm trying to be a professional. Not from you. Not from you. I had hugs yesterday. Not from you.
Students of the Game, Tuesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
Sean Lang with the most action-packed 2 hours on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, the Fight League Report. On June 9th, UFC returns to Chicago for pay-per-view, the first time in 10 years. UFC 225, headlined by middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, defending his title against Yoel Romero in a rematch. Will the Reaper be victorious again, or will the Soldier of God become champion for the first time? We will break down the card and have exclusive interviews leading up to this event. The Fight Report, Tuesday at 12 p.m. only on ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.
I've been in the radio and broadcasting business a long time, more than 3 decades, and I thought, if I spread my knowledge and shared what I know about the business with a lot of young minds, maybe I could get some of those people involved. And my dad talked to schools, and I thought I could do that too, and I could do it all in one place at Illinois Media School. I've been having a great time. I tell everybody I'm learning as much from the students as they learn from me. I am Eddie Volkman, and I am IMS.
Cap's here.
The Cap's here.
Cap's here. All right, welcome back to the penalty box with Hot Take Nico's and the Goon. Is where
What up?
the Cap is here. You know, I'd say if anything, you'd be like Paulie D, and I would be like, I would be like Fat Mike the Situation.
That sounds so bad.
Oh man.
Hey, all right. If you guys aren't getting why we're doing that, we ran a poll on Twitter that we should do a Jersey Shore segment, and literally like 30 people voted that we should. I had 3 options. Was we yell Caps here for 20 minutes. Unfortunately, we cannot yell Caps here for 20 minutes as much as you guys wanted us to.
Because not only that, we wouldn't have any listeners left. We don't even have a 20-minute segment.
Yeah, so there's your Jersey Shore right there. You get the Caps here because the
Caps here.
The Cap is here.
Yo, the Caps here.
Oh. Okay. Well, other things that are here are the Ducks and the Sharks.
Yes, Ducks and Sharks.
Because they are on the shore and they are ready to go. So, what do you got for that one? Well, I'll talk about Sharks. Sharks.
All right.
Sharks got Kane, Pavelski, Donskoy. Second line, Hurdle, Couture, Bodker. Third line, Meyer, Turney, LeBlanc. Fourth line, Sorensen, Gamble, and Ward.
First line has Raquel, Getzlaff, Perry.
For the Ducks.
For the Ducks, yes. This is for Anaheim. Second line has Cogliano, Kessler, Silverberg, Richie, Henrique, Case, Kache, whatever. Vermette, Grant, and JT Brown.
Ooh. I think head to head, I want to say the Sharks have a better. I want the Sharks. I think the Sharks are going to win this series just due to the fact that none of them are really injured. I mean,
besides Joe Thornton.
Yeah, I mean, but he might be coming in there too. So I mean, if he comes in there and he can produce like good old Joe can. That's a serious turner too. I mean, like you look at this, the Ducks lineup. Getzlaff is injured. Ryan Kessler is still. I think he's on the injured reserve. I'm not sure, but he's been skating around with a weird hip. But if any of them get injured in there, you're gonna move up. Henrique to that first line. I'm not sure who's gonna take that second. Well, you could put. Or even the offense for Sharks. Kane's been a great addition. Pavelski's been Pavelski. Donskoy has been a really good player on that first line in Thornton's absence because they usually have the two Joes together up there. But it's been a really good. They've been really underrated this season. So I feel that it's going to be one of those series where it can either the Sharks will just dominate the Ducks and that'll be it, or it'll be a really close one. It's either. I feel like it's going to be either or. It's not going to be I don't think the Ducks can dominate it all, but they'll keep it close.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at it defensively, Lindholm and Manson, Boschman, Montour, Peterson, and Walensky. I got to tell you, I'm not overly critical of Hampus Lindholm. I've always liked him and Francois Boschman. These are two guys who I think can really keep it together for the Ducks defensively. But for the rest of them, I've never heard of them.
I mean, Josh Manson and Montour are really good young players, but you also got to look at their injury reserve too. You got Bieksa, who's been a really good fourth or third pairing for him. Cam Fowler's on the injury reserve. I think he's going to be coming back soon for the playoffs. I mean, in net, Gibson's been on the injury reserve too a lot. So that's what I mean. There's just a lot of injury storylines going on for the Ducks that make it hard for me to say that they're going to pull out of this playoff series. And that's why I'm going to go with Sharks. I think if we're going for games, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. One last thing before we give our picks and everything. If you're honestly telling me that Ryan Miller is going to be the saving grace of the Anaheim Ducks, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. I'm just saying in general.
If anybody does, you're crazy.
All right. So you're taking the Sharks in what?
Sharks. I think in my playoff bracket, or our playoff bracket, we have a playoff bracket. I think I chose them in 6. So no, actually 5. I chose the Sharks in 5. That was the one that I was like, whatever.
I took Sharks in 5 as well. But for this show purposes, Sharks in 4.
Sharks in 4.
Sharks.
The Sharks.
The Sharks. Sharks. No, I'm going to take the Sharks in 4. I think this is going to be the one series to where you're not going to get Gibson back this series, in my opinion. Ryan Miller is just going to be a train wreck. And that leaves you with Reto Berra, who
there's just too many question marks for this for this team, and that's the whole gist of kind of why we really don't feel like they can do anything. But you never know. The Ducks always seem to find a way. So if they can, they will. Maybe we'll see them in the conference finals again. Who
maybe
knows?
you never know on that exactly. All right.
For the next series, we got Minnesota Wild and we got the Jets. I'm excited for this one. I've never really been a Minnesota Wild fan. Not a fan, but I've never been like an avid follower. But they've always been that team that you always kind of forget exists. For at least me. Like I'm on I watch a lot of Eastern side of the hockey, of the hockey. And it's just you always kind of forget that they're there. But like this season, I wouldn't say this was a standout season, but I feel like just having Eric Stahl, who's been a crazy addition to the I'll say what the Wild lineup is. You got for their first line, you have Zucker, Stahl, Niederreiter. Second line is Parise, Koivu, Granlund. Third line is Greenway, Cullen, Coyle. Fourth line is Foligno, Eriksson, Ek, and Daniel Winnick. Who do you got?
Yeah, that's a pretty good looking lineup.
Who do you got for Winnipeg? Who's over that?
All right, so we got Connor, Scheifele, and Wheeler. Ehlers, Stastny, Line, Perreault, Little, Armia, Kopp, Lowry, and Tanev. Biff Tanev.
His name is Biff?
No, his name's Brandon, but every time I see the name Tanev, all I can think of is Biff from Back to the Future.
No.
You don't get to tell me no, all right? You don't get to tell me no there, Sonny.
No, old man.
Oh, man, that's
all right.
That's awful.
Well, honestly, I mean, I'm going to go for, all right, let's go for Minnesota. Minnesota, you have Zucker, Stahl, Niederreiter. Great line. Eric Stahl is definitely he's the straw that stirs the drink. And I really feel that he's a top line center again. Like he just decided, hey, I'm gonna go get my time machine. I'm gonna go bring back my 2008 self, and here we are again. And him and Niederreiter, I think him with anybody really on that Wild team has been a really good addition. The second line though, Parise's on there with Koivu and Granlund. Granlund's a fantastic playmaker. I think he's one of the best playmakers in the league, and nobody talks about him at all because he plays on Minnesota. But he's just such a good playmaker. Seriously, go watch highlights of this guy. He's crazy. But with Parise on the second line, I feel like it's a weakness there. He hasn't been the same since he's had all these injuries, and it's a kind of a weak, like I said, a weak kind of player there. I mean, even their depth, Matt Cullen, Coyle, Winnick, Foligno. I mean, comparatively speaking to the Jets, who do they have over there?
Yeah, I gotta say, the Jets seem to be very strong when it comes to the offense. Have a lot of depth scoring and you said you didn't like him, but Matthew Perreault is a guy who, if he wants to, can play very well. We saw Andrew Kopp just the other night have a pretty good game himself, scoring a couple goals. Really, when you look at these lines, you can get scoring from all four lines.
Yeah.
And let's not take anything away from Kyle Connor, as I was just, you kind of shut me down when I said, well, we were talking on Twitter, we weren't on the show, but I said, we may have overlooked Kyle Connor for the Calder Trophy. I got to be honest with you, if we're looking just straight goals, Kyle Connor. If we're looking goals and assists, yeah, it's probably Matthew. It's probably Barzal. Now I can't talk apparently.
Yeah, man. If we're gonna let's just say hypothetically speaking, with this whole thing, it's Barzal's trophy. That's it. You're done.
Whatever.
But hypothetically, if you're gonna say Kyle Connor gets a mention, you gotta mention Yanni Gord, right?
Well, I
63
have
points.
been. I have been.
Kyle Connor. It's just they're both in the same, and even Clayton Keller, they're all in the same kind of boat here. And I don't know. It's just he's a good. No, it's a good rookie, yeah. But on this team that's overshadowed with a team that has Wheeler and Line, yeah, you're right. No one's talking about him.
Sure.
But in this Calder race, I don't think anybody's overshadowing him. I feel like it's just we all know who it's gonna be, and there's no really other talk to talk about that. You know what I mean? Not no what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying with that?
For sure.
But yeah, I mean, in general, I think you got Jets for this series.
Yes, I have the Jets. Jets in 6.
I'm going with Jets in 5.
Okay.
I can't. I don't know. I feel like the defense on Minnesota relies too much on Ryan Suter, and Ryan Suter's actually been hurt these last couple games. Maybe they were just resting him for the playoffs, but I think that's going to be a Jets series to win. There's going to be not too much for them to handle.
Probably right. And then for the last series, we have the Nashville Predators against
Colorado Avalanche.
Thank you. I couldn't remember that for some reason. I will start with the Avalanche here. Landeskog, McKinnon, Rantanen, Kerfoot, Yost, Ange Brighetto. Looks like spaghetti.
Put Nieto, Agregetto, and Como on the same line, and they would call it the O's.
That's pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't mind seeing that. You got, and there's another team that really nobody is talking about. To the second round, I know we've talked about it from a stance of, Jonathan Bernier is a good goal and whatnot, but I don't know. We could see.
I can't see it. I can't. Honestly, you're going against Nashville. Nashville has Forsberg, Johansson, Arvidsson, Fiala, Turris, Smith, Sissons, Bonino, Watson, Salomaki, and Ryan Fisher and Hartman. I mean, on defense, they could score too. You got Yossi, Ellis, Ekholm, Subban. And in net, you have a Vezina caliber goaltender. Again, not to take away from anything from what Colorado's done, but they barely made the playoffs on the 82nd game of the season. McKinnon willed them there, and I mean they only have really one line. Like they have Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen, and you saw when McKinnon was out, that line fell apart. You put them on different lines, they don't work, and that's the problem with this team. It's a one-line team, and I mean that's not that you can't make. They made the playoffs off of one player, in my opinion.
Well, maybe they can win the Stanley Cup off of one player. You never know.
No, Bernier can't hold up. You have Johnson, one of their top defensemen, out. You're relying on Zadorov, who's horrible with Corsi rating. That guy is bad. You have Tyson Barrie, who's a good defenseman, and then you have Samuel Girard, who's 19 years old, playing his first playoff as a top four. They're going to rely on a 19-year-old defenseman, and I mean that's just with a backup goalie, pretty much. So.
Fair enough. I mean, all I'm saying is when it happens, I'll be the first one to say, I told you so.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're wrong.
Yeah, well, you're wrong too, all right?
I'm saying Nashville.
Wow. Hot takes here on the penalty box. I'm going to take Colorado in 7.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. No, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong.
There's no way. I can't see it. All I see is just Forsberg, Arvidsson.
Yeah.
Subban's gonna do his little bow and arrow thing.
Bernier, you suck.
Yeah, I mean that crowd in Nashville's brutal.
You know what else is brutal?
Your faith in Colorado Avalanche.
Your faith in the Colorado Avalanche. I don't know. All right. Oh, oops. My bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
As we got the playoffs starting, we promised something a little bit along the lines of Jersey Shore, I guess.
This is it.
This is it. I don't get this.
This is great.
Oh my goodness.
There we go.
So when we see a hot take Nikos on the news, just randomly, just randomly going crazy,
crazy.
you know,
Wild.
and we'll know why. I mean, basically all I got to do is check to see if the Toronto Maple Leafs won or not.
Oh boy, if they man, they're gonna win. Who? Oh, you know what? Honestly, like for the playoffs, I got. Well, I mean, I go check my bracket right now. But
All right, yeah, because we're winding down here. We're getting ready to go. Let's see who.
yeah, I know, right?
Sorry, this song's just making me laugh because I can't believe we actually did this.
It's so good. I mean, thank you guys for voting too. By the way. Oh
Yeah, no, that
you
was
know,
awesome of you guys. Thank you.
So we can like be interactive with us too. If you want to follow us on Twitter, like you said, you follow him at JDHicks88. Follow me at MICHALS_NIKOS. Like I said, I'm always doing a whole bunch of Maple Leaf stuff on there. Or you can follow our actual main account at the Penalty Box CSR.
Oh yeah.
So I mean that we're always posting. We do always do live tweets. For the playoffs, we're definitely going to be doing a lot of live tweets. I will be all upon that Bruins Maple Leafs game, so don't worry about that. We also have a website coming out as well that's in the making. So we're going to be doing blog posts and a whole bunch of different stuff going on there. But I'm excited for what's going to be happening in the playoffs, though.
Oh, me too. Me too, absolutely. And like I said, and what we're gonna have to do is, because I'm sure we're both gonna be live tweeting from our Penalty Box CSR page or whatever during the playoffs. Keep in mind that Nico over here is probably gonna be retweeting a lot of Toronto Maple Leafs garbage or whatever you want to call it. No, I'm just kidding. John, I'm kidding, Leafs Nation. Relax. Don't give me a bunch of hate mail on Twitter. No. Yeah, we'll tag it correctly so that you can get involved in our conversation as well.
No doubt. I found my bracket. So for my bracket, I actually have Nashville winning in 5, and then I have Winnipeg beating Minnesota in 6, and then I have Vegas beating LA in 6, and then I have San Jose beating Anaheim in 7. Then for the second round, I have Nashville beating Winnipeg, and then I have Sharks beating the Vegas Knights, and then I have Nashville beating the Sharks in that Western Conference Final, and then I have for the Eastern, I have Tampa Bay beating New Jersey in 4. I have Toronto beating Boston in 6. Then I have Washington beating Columbus in 6. Then I have Pittsburgh beating Philly in 7. Then I have, of course, Washington fans. I have Pittsburgh winning over Washington. Then I have Tampa Bay beating Toronto in that second round, and then I have Tampa Bay beating the Pittsburgh Penguins in that in that Eastern Conference, and then I have Nashville beating Tampa Bay for the Stanley Cup.
All right, and then in my bracket, I have Nashville over Colorado in 5, Winnipeg over Minnesota in 6, Vegas over LA in 5, San Jose over Anaheim in 7. Then I have, all right, so that makes that, I have Winnipeg over the Predators. Then I have the Sharks over Vegas. Let's see if I can get this to go here. All right, and then in the Eastern Conference, I have New Jersey over Tampa Bay in 7.
Get out of here with that.
Toronto over Boston in 6. Washington over Columbus in 6. Pittsburgh over Philadelphia in 6. Then I have Toronto over Toronto beating New Jersey. And then I have Washington beating Pittsburgh.
Get out of here with that too. What are you doing?
And then I have so then Toronto beats Washington. And then I have Toronto and Winnipeg in my Stanley Cup final with Toronto winning.
Yeah.
15 total goals scored in the
15
series.
goals. Do you even watch hockey, man?
Yeah, do you?
There's gonna be at least if that's a series, it's gonna be like 40 goals.
All right.
It's gonna be like 30 goals.
Yeah. All right. Well, unfortunately, that's where we're gonna have to leave it here. But when we return next week, I'm sure we're gonna have a lot to talk about via the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So stay tuned.
Hopefully
for that.
none of them are over because we want them all to go to 7 games.
Yes. All right. Have a great day, everyone.
See ya.
See you later.
You're listening to ChicagolandSportsRadio.com. It's not just sports, it's a way of life.
Hey, it's Chris Reese, and I am